Good afternoon, everyone. You'll notice I'm out of the frame today. Here we have a piece of wood I took out of the bush right between myself and my neighbor. I've made a cut on it already. As a matter of fact, we'll give you an image of the cut. And I'm getting, of course, shadows. Sorry about that. We're not perfectly illuminated. Okay. And you can see it's got a nice tight core. It's I cut it with my Silky. Set that down and we'll give you a bit of a demonstration of what happened. Okay, my Silky. Okay, Pocket Boy. And on the blade it's marked as a Pocket Boy 130. Okay. Now I'm not certain, I didn't even realize they had made multiple variations of the coarseness, but they do. I saw that on YouTube this week. So I thought we'd do some cutting and show how it works for me. Now I cut about the width of my hand or so, and that's because of my Lexada stove and my IKEA hobo stove. Now one of the things is I'll measure the wood afterwards. It does slice slower on other woods that I've tried it on compared to that big one that I got at a bargain place. It was not a Silky, and it was not any of the other well-known saws. I find this to be a bit of work, but see, I wanted to find out if I could be comfortable slicing, I'm going to guess 2.5 inch thick piece. The Silky is not worn out yet. It's only a couple of years old and hasn't had extensive use. And you can see where, okay, now, which end was already cut? We can guess on that one, can't we? Okay, let's just, for the sake of it, measure. We'll get the width, the diameter, and you have to put that in as definitely get out of the shadow, Ted. Okay, it's 2 inches this end, 2 1/8 this end. Okay, now the cut is smooth. Yeah, I'm getting in the shadow of the camera. Okay, sorry about that. There we are. Move over there. Okay, you can see the core of the tree is quite hard, and a good bit of it. Therefore, we know that it takes more cutting. It's very fine grained, a little bit of cracking. This crack is the biggest one. Anyway, we'll cut a couple more pieces just to, and I don't have to, I was right in my guess. Close anyway. Okay, so what have I found with the first cuts this thick? Well, as you can see, I'm tapping the bottom and I'm bringing the tip pretty much into the cut, the curve. Now, you definitely would not want to use this little Pocket Boy for anything bigger than this unless you're only doing a couple cuts. And I'm cheating and rolling it a bit just to change its angle. Okay, cuts well. It cuts on the pull stroke. That I like. From the first time I bought my first Japanese saw, I thought, what a difference. You know how when you're pushing, if it binds a little bit in the curve, the blade binds, it flexes, right? It pushes it. Now this guy is cutting extremely smooth. A coarser saw, of course, would cut coarser. I'll do one more just for the fact that we're here. Now, for me, this is about the maximum wood size I had calculated. I was quite certain that 3 inches would not be really appropriate since the blade is only around 5.5 inches, and we'll measure that when I finish this cut. You can see the cuttings coming out more on this side than on the far side. And you can hear it coming near the end of the slice too. The wood's getting thinner. Okay, down there we are. Okay, well, I've got 4 pieces here already cut. Now, let's give it some thought, shall we? I'm going to move a little bit. Okay, back with you. Now, how many years it'll last me is different from you and everybody else, because we all depend on even what we're cutting, right? If you're cutting basswood, pine, cedar, softwoods like that, it's different. Now my blade length, total overhaul length, is 5 inches and just shy of, we'll call it a quarter, because if you added a little touch on the end, it would be a quarter. Actually, yeah, 4 3/4 inches of actual teeth. Okay. Now, I find it nice. For one thing, there's enough stiffness in the blade. It's thicker than one of my other saws by a noticeable amount, and one of these days I will actually measure them and find out the difference in thickness here and up here in the teeth. I will be very careful with a dial micrometer so that we can get that measurement. Now, I love this saw. I haven't used it like so yet. As you can see, if you're cutting down close to something, you're not going to beat your knuckles on it, right? If we have it right down on the table, my knuckles are free. I like that about it. I hadn't been aware that they made them in different coarsenesses. Should have thought of that, but I didn't. I liked this one when I saw it, and I bought it. Now, would I buy another this size? Sure. As you could see, cutting 2 inches, it was okay. 2 inches, you know, as you can see, it's a little more than half, or double, a little more than half the length of the teeth. So, yeah, it'll do it. You're not taking long, comfortable strokes, okay? It's more jerk, 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 which is okay. Now this wood, I'm going to be cutting it up, and I must admit I could cheat and cut it with my chop saw, which is already set up for another job, and I probably will do that just for the sake of doing it that way. But anyway, this is to go in my wood box for burning, and as you can see, if you split that in quarters and put it in my Firebox Nano, you would almost have the right size for a Swedish fire. I've never tried doing that way exactly. Having stuff stand up, your wood stand up and building the fire on top. I've done that, and I'll be doing it more too, because I find you don't have to pay attention to the fire too much once it's going. You've got 10 or 15 minutes of cooking time, which is more than enough. At 3, we'll say 3 to 5 minutes to make a coffee, and the rest of that time we'll fry up some bacon and eggs if you do them at the same time in the frying pan. And which reminds me, I haven't found the perfect frying pan yet. I don't want to use cast iron camping, but anyway, some of the others are kind of grief, you know. But that's it. So the Silky Pocket Boy, yeah, a little small for some jobs, but for work like this, it's just fine. For cutting something that's about 1 inch, which is, you know, is probably its best size, I would think, 1/2 inch to 1.5 inches at the most. I think it would really shine then. But for me, yes, 2 thumbs up. And yes, keeping it in its case. The fact that Silky's come in cases is good. The fact that Silky's are Japanese steel, that's a big plus. They're known for their quality steel, just as Sheffield steel, Solingen steel in Germany, and in other locations that turn out fine quality steels. Yeah, the Japanese turn out fantastic steel. And yes, I can see where, for me, a 180 would be probably a better size. I know there's a 230, and yeah, a 230, of course you'd want that one in a coarser cut for cutting. It would go through this like nothing. The 180 also, because you've got a longer stroke in your arm. But all in all, this thing is definitely 2 thumbs up to Silky. They turned out a good one, and I'm pleased to have it as part of my toolkit, and that's going to be what I'll be keeping my eyes open for in the coming months or year, is a longer one. The other saws I got are okay. The other 2 I've tested out. The one was the steel stamped teeth. The other one was hollow ground like this, but thinner blade, and it tended to bind in the kerf more. So that's it for me. And hopefully you've found the one that's just right for you. I don't know if I need to go any bigger than that. I have a chainsaw at home if I need to cut down a tree. And in the wilds, I don't really plan on cutting down trees any bigger than this one that we cut on today. If I can find firewood standing in the bush this diameter, or a little bit more or less, that's perfect for making good fires. Now I know that they're not going to be logs that are going to burn for hours or anything like that, but that'll definitely do for me. Okay, with that, I'd like to thank you for joining me today. Enjoy this beautiful day. The sun is shining, and we don't know how many more we're going to get this fall. Today is, I'm guessing at the 18th, I think, of September. Don't have my watch on, so I can't tell for sure. The umbrella, I'm using it to keep the sun off me this time instead of the rain. All the best to you. Take care, be well, be happy, and share this wonderful life you have wherever you are with those you love the most. All the best. Bye for now.